The $100 million identity crisis. Stop! Before you check your bank account again, before you look at your investments, or complain about the economy, I need you to look in the mirror. Most people think the reason they aren't wealthy is a lack of opportunity, a lack of luck, or because they didn't go to the right school. They are wrong. As Warren Buffett famously said, the most important investment you can make is in yourself. But he wasn't just talking about learning a new skill. He was talking about the operating system inside your head. I've seen people earn $100 million and still feel like they're one step away from being homeless. I've seen people work 80 hours a week only to end the year with less than they started. Why? Because you aren't running your life. An invisible, outdated piece of software written in your childhood is. Today, we are going to perform a system reset on your financial brain. We're going to tear down the wealth ceiling that's keeping you stuck and rewrite the script that has been sabotaging your freedom since you were 5 years old. Welcome to Clear Money. Let's get clear on why you're actually stuck. The ghosts in the machine, your money scripts. Every financial decision you make, the job you accept, the price you charge, the guilt you feel when you buy a coffee, is dictated by your money script. As the legendary psychologist Carl Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. These scripts were etched into your subconscious before you even knew how to tie your shoes. Think about the money avoider. If you grew up hearing that rich people are greedy or that money is the root of all evil, you are likely sabotaging your own success to stay virtuous. Then there is the money worshiper. You believe money is the answer to every problem, but as the old saying goes, money is a beautiful servant but a terrible master. You chase a finish line that keeps moving, sacrificing your health and relationships for a number that never feels big enough. Some of us are money status seekers. Let's say you buy things you don't need with money you don't have to impress people you don't even like. You are living in a house of cards and the wind is starting to blow. And finally, the money vigilant. You save, you hoard, but you are constantly terrified. You have the money, but you don't have the freedom because you're waiting for a disaster that hasn't happened yet. Until you identify which character you are playing, you are just a passenger in a car driven by your 7-year-old self. The internal thermostat, your wealth ceiling. Have you ever noticed that no matter how much your salary increases, your bank account balance stays the same? This is the wealth ceiling. In his groundbreaking book, The Big Leap, Gay Hendricks calls this the upper limit problem. Think of your mind like a thermostat. If your internal financial temperature is set to $50,000 a year, your brain will do everything in its power to keep you there. If you suddenly make $80,000, your brain panics. It feels too hot. You'll suddenly need a new car or you'll make a reckless investment to burn off the excess. Conversely, if you drop to $30,000, you'll work like a madman until you hit that $50,000 comfort zone again. You don't need a better job, you need a higher setting. As T. Harv Eker says in Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, your income can grow only to the extent that you do. If you don't change the thermostat, you will always end up back at the same number. The assets versus liabilities reality check. We have been lied to by a society that wants us to be consumers, not builders. Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, defined it simply: an asset puts money in my pocket, a liability takes money out of my pocket. Wealthy people buy assets. The middle class buys liabilities they think are assets. Your home, if it takes money out of your pocket every month for taxes and insurance without generating rent, is a liability. Your car is a depreciating liability. However, a course that teaches you a high-income skill is an asset because it compounds your earning power for life. Look at your last 10 purchases. How many of them are going to pay you back? If the answer is 0, you aren't building wealth, you're just decorating your cage. The scarcity trap. The berry picker's brain. 10,000 years ago, if you saw a bush full of berries, you ate them all because tomorrow they might rot or a bear might get them. This is the scarcity brain. In 2026, this instinct is killing your potential. Scarcity brain says, Save every penny, don't take risks. Abundance Brain says, money is renewable. Opportunities are everywhere. Naval Ravikant once said, free education is abundant all over the internet. It's the desire to learn that's scarce. When you operate from scarcity, your cognitive bandwidth shrinks. You refuse to spend $1,000 on a course that could make you $100,000 because you're afraid of losing that thousand. You are so focused on the cost that you completely ignore the investment. You are losing the opportunity cost of the person you could have become. Loss aversion, the cost of playing it safe. Psychology tells us that the pain of losing $100 is twice as powerful as the joy of gaining $100. This loss aversion is why you stay in a dead-end job. You are so terrified of losing what you have that you ignore what you could gain. Jim Rohn famously said, if you are not willing to risk the unusual, you will have to settle for the ordinary. When you fail, don't call it a loss, call it tuition. If you lose $5,000 on a business venture, you didn't lose it. You paid for an education that will make you millions later. The moment you reframe loss as tuition, the world becomes your classroom instead of your courtroom. Stop letting the fear of losing keep you from the game of winning. The time trap, the math of freedom. This is the final level of the game. Most people spend their lives trying to save money, but wealthy people spend their money to save time. Benjamin Franklin said, time is money. But he was wrong. Time is much more valuable than money because it is non-renewable. Calculate your hourly rate right now. Take your annual income and divide it by 2,000. If you make $50,000 a year, your time is worth $25 an hour. If you spend 2 hours mowing your lawn to save $50, you haven't saved anything. You've just traded 2 hours of your life for a $25 task. Wealthy people outsource everything below their hourly rate. They buy back their time to focus on high-leverage tasks, the ones that pay $500 or $5,000 an hour. As Steve Jobs said, the most precious resource we all have is time. Stop spending yours on $10 tasks. The breakthrough, rewriting your story. Wealth isn't a destination, it's a psychological state. To break free, you must first audit your memory. Realize that your childhood money stories are just stories, not laws of physics. Second, you must manually raise your thermostat. Start affirming, I am the kind of person who builds wealth with ease. And third, stop buying status and start buying assets. The cage is open. You've always had the key in your hand. As Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It's time to think you can. It's time to get clear. I'm Clear Money. Stay clear, stay focused, and go build your empire.